The former chief of police for the Uvalde School District, Pedro P. Arredondo, has been indicted by a grand jury for the 2022 mass shooting response where 19 children and 2 teachers were killed, as his police department and many other departments were literally just waiting outside the door. So now a grand jury indicted him on 10 charges of child endangerment and criminal negligence. Now the indictment was first reported by the San Antonio Express News. And in the copy of the complaint released by the Uvalde district clerk on Friday and published in full by the Daily Mail, prosecutors alleged Arredondo had failed to determine that there was an active shooter even after there were shots fired, and alerted that a teacher and children had been injured. Prosecutors also say that he had wasted precious time by calling for a SWAT team and issuing evacuation orders instead of doing what he's supposed to do and respond to the shooter and to try to neutralize the shooter on the scene. They said that he allowed an active shooter who was hunting and shooting children to continue the carnage repeatedly and ignored his active shooter training by deciding and declaring to others to delay breaching a room occupied by a gunman at Robb Elementary School until the classrooms were evacuated. That evacuation took about 43 minutes, of which there were still children inside of that classroom dying, bleeding out. He's also accused of failing to determine if a classroom door was locked, adding more delay. They were hunting for keys, even though he could just as easily try to open the door. He allegedly didn't provide keys or other breaching tools for classrooms that were locked, and prosecutors say he established no command center while the shooting was happening, something that would have been of significant assistance to the Border Patrol agents who showed up at to Robb Elementary School without clear information or direction. There was no information, there was no direction, there was no leadership, there was nothing. Nobody knew what to do. And as a result, it took over 77 minutes for someone to come in, that was the Border Patrol, and stop the shooter. Again, this is as children were dying, bleeding to death. This guy, because of this guy, you had police officers stacked outside the door, not coming in to render them aid. And of course, that's the worst part, right? But you add on to that what happened after the fact. Allegations that he tried to throw a teacher under the bus by saying, you propped open the door, so you allowed them in there, and that's why all this terrible stuff happened. That's why, okay, but that doesn't explain, yeah, sure, it explains how he got in there, but it doesn't explain why you took 77 minutes to take action and had all these different failures, okay? And then, of course, there was blaming a single officer, which, again, no, it had to do with you, the fish rots from the head down. You were supposed to be there to lead. You didn't have your radio. You just discarded it. Oh, I didn't know that I needed a radio, so I'm just going to just drop it off. No, you need a radio. Again, so many different failures here. Uvalde lawyer Roland Gutierrez called the shooting a product of gross incompetence by the Texas Department of Public Safety. The top law enforcement agency in the state, Texas, must answer for the grave errors in judgment and for lying every single day to the public about how the massacre had unfolded. There was a lot of information that was incorrect, that was being parroted by the police department. It was given out by the police department and parroted by the media. The Texas Department of Public Safety, he said, has done nothing in Uvalde but cover up for their abject failure. Every single officer that stood down that day must be held accountable, from P. Arredondo all the way down to Texas Department of Public Safety Director Steve McCraw. So now, so far, Arredondo and another officer, Gonzalez, have been criminally charged in connection to the shooting, but that's far from enough. I hope these are only the first, because again, there was multiple failures that day, which, had they not happened, some of those victims may still be alive. Active shooter response protocols noted, and this is according to a very scathing DOJ report on this, when a subject has already shot numerous victims and is a room with additional victims, the efforts first must be dedicated to entering the room, stopping the subject, and then rendering aid to the victims. That did not happen. These efforts must be undertaken regardless of the equipment and personnel available to those first on the scene. These officers, they ended up putting their own safety over that of the lives over the lives of the children. Okay, that was the problem here. Okay, oh no, we need shields, or we need this, and oh, we can't go in there. Oh, that's okay. Arredondo says that it's not an active shooter situation, even though we just heard gunshots and we know that there are children in there. Okay, no, it's a barricaded subject situation, so that means we can just wait them out. No. Again, it took Border Patrol. Okay, and again, this report detailed all of the failures of the Uvalde police, Arredondo, and the leadership of all the other departments that were there. Okay, you know who ended up doing this? Border Patrol. Border Patrol went in and eliminated the threat. That's after 77 minutes. Okay, and 40 minutes, by the way, of fumbling for keys. Oh, the key. Oh, that key didn't work. Oh, we got to find another set of keys. There was no leadership, no coordination, and very little help for the families after the fact as well. Now, speaking of the families, by the way, when this was happening, there were members of families that were arrested outside of the school when asking about their children, worrying about their children. They're not happy about this. The families are not happy about this. Berlinda Arreola, whose 10-year-old granddaughter, Emery Jo Garza, was among those killed, said Thursday that Arredondo's arrest is not happy. They're not happy about this. Quote, it's still a sad moment. It's nothing to be happy about. We are having to relive this nightmare again, knowing that they had the chance to save some of our loved ones. Maybe all of them. It's something that we have been looking for, waiting for the past 2 years. And honestly, we were about to give up hope. So we weren't really surprised that we finally got a little bit of accountability and justice. But there's much more to be done. So, yes, it's not a happy moment. Maybe there's a tiny sliver of accountability here, maybe a little bit. But no, it's not enough. Jesse Rizzo, the uncle of 9-year-old Jacqueline Cazares, who died in the shooting, also called for more. He said, why only 2 people? It's a very valid question. Why only 2 individuals that were indicted today? And we hope that we get that answer soon. He said the charges were a good step, calling it a very emotional day for me. I don't think it's enough. It's hard to swallow. You had children that went through a lot, that saw living hell, that took their last breath on their own. The only comfort they had was each other and perhaps even themselves. So when you see these charges, and the maximum penalty only carries a few years in jail, possibly, it's difficult to accept that. It is something. It is more than what you had before. Hopefully there's other people that are going to be indicted and may be charged with a little bit more. So again, you see the responses here from the family of, hey, yes, it's something, and we're happy about that, but we're also not happy about this. Okay, there has to be more accountability, and it's never going to be a situation where it's going to be enough because it doesn't bring them back. But there has to be accountability so that maybe something like this doesn't happen the next time. Okay, if there is a next time. Now, once again, for me personally, I do think that I mean, I agree with the parents that it's not enough, but at the same time, I'm actually shocked at how much they're actually doing against police officers. I mean, police get away with a lot of stuff in this country. And so to see Arredondo actually be indicted on charges along with another police officer that was there, I mean, that is surprising to me because, again, I see them get away with so much. But again, we'll have to see if this is only the beginning. I hope it's only the beginning. If there is to be more justice, or, which I think is far more likely, if these 2 have been offered up as sacrificial lambs to try to mollify the parents. And as you can see, that's not going to be enough for them. And that's good. In fact, one of the parents had a great idea. Quote, I think that they should have to do a year for every minute that these children were in there alone. And added, they, as in ones that were in the hallway, the ones that knew the information, the ones that knew that there were children in there and then didn't do anything. Yeah, 100%. I agree. But like I said, I'm not really holding my breath for that to happen for anyone other than maybe a couple of scanned officers, and this guy, of course, to end up paying the price for what was just a complete and utter failure and embarrassment of so many different police departments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.